Special to be here just a few days before my 70th birthday. I just felt that after all the things I've been doing in this country, damaging nature by not understanding how much we depend on.
For years, the world speculated. Now, sources close to the crown suggest King Charles has finally confirmed what many believed all along. Is this the revelation that changes everything? The answer might rewrite royal history. Watch until the end, and make sure you subscribe for more royal truth bombs. Prince Charles's story began not with privilege, but pressure. From the moment he could walk, expectations were already stacked upon his shoulders. As a child, he was sent to Gordonstoun, a famously strict Scottish boarding school. His father believed the place would build character, but instead, it nearly broke him. Far from the warm arms of a nurturing home, Charles was tossed into cold dormitories and relentless discipline. He was mocked, called names, and emotionally isolated. The future king was labeled too emotional, too soft, and too delicate. But what no one saw coming was how these very traits would become both his greatest burden and his hidden strength. Charles's first encounter with Diana wasn't in a ballroom or a grand event. It happened during a countryside visit when Diana was just a teenager. She wasn't the poised princess the world would come to adore, just a spirited young girl in muddy boots with an easy laugh that immediately caught Charles's attention. But there was a twist. At the time, Charles was dating her older sister, Sarah. For months, he pushed the memory of Diana aside, committed to what looked like a proper royal match. Yet deep down, something had shifted. Diana had unknowingly carved out a space in his mind and heart that no one else could fill. Before Diana ever stepped into the picture, there was someone else, Camilla. She wasn't a headline or a passing fling. Camilla was Charles's emotional anchor, his confidant, and someone who saw him as more than just a prince. Though life took them in different directions, each marrying someone else, the bond remained. While Charles pursued Diana, Camilla lingered quietly in the background, still connected to him in ways words couldn't explain. She was the one who truly understood his thoughts, his fears, and his fragile heart. That unspoken connection would silently shape everything that followed. As wedding bells approached and excitement grew, Diana stumbled upon something that shook her deeply. Tucked away was a bracelet, delicate, personalized, and meant not for her, but for Camilla. Engraved with secret nicknames, it wasn't just a gift, it was a message. Diana was crushed. The man she believed she'd won, the one she was preparing to marry in front of the entire world, was still clinging to someone else. Her heart told her to walk away, but the machinery of royalty was already in motion. There was no pause button. The evening before the wedding was supposed to be filled with joy and anticipation. Instead, it turned somber. According to those closest to her, Charles came to see Diana, weighed down by guilt. What he allegedly shared stunned her. He didn't love her the way she loved him. Some say he was emotional, others say he was torn. But for Diana, it was a moment of clarity wrapped in devastation. She asked him why he was going through with it. His answer? Because duty demanded it. And so, with the world watching, she chose to step into a marriage already stained by heartbreak. To outsiders, July 29th was magical. A glowing bride, a dashing groom, a nation celebrating love. But behind the veil, something was off. Diana shocked the establishment by removing the word obey from her vows, an act of quiet defiance. Charles, too, slipped during his vows, mixing up lines, his voice trembling not with nerves, but something deeper. Their kiss on the balcony, replayed endlessly across screens, looked perfect from afar. But to those close by, it felt stiff, calculated. The smile on Diana's face would flicker when she thought no one noticed. The princess was already losing hope on her wedding day. This was meant to be their time, free from protocol, far from the cameras. But the honeymoon exposed a chasm. In one of their first joint interviews, when asked if they were in love, Diana beamed, "Of course." Charles followed with the now infamous, "whatever love means." It wasn't just a moment, it was a mirror reflecting the truth. For Diana, it felt like a slap. She had believed in the story they were selling to the world, but her partner seemed unmoved. Instead of healing, the distance widened. Still, she didn't give up. Diana threw herself into her royal duties, becoming a global sensation almost overnight. Her warmth, empathy, and charm made her beloved across the world. She thought that by being the perfect wife, by giving him 2 sons, by upholding tradition, she could eventually win his heart. But shadows don't disappear just because you ignore them. And soon, Diana discovered she wasn't just competing with the memory of Camilla. She was facing the reality of her ongoing presence. At a gathering where both women were present, Diana finally confronted Camilla. Her voice was calm but firm. "I know what's going on," she said. Camilla, never one to cower, looked her in the eye. "You have everything: beauty, fame, the world's admiration. What more do you want?" Those words cut deep. Diana wasn't seeking attention. She wanted honesty. She wanted a marriage that was hers, not shared with someone else in silence. When intimate phone calls between Charles and Camilla were leaked, they stunned the world. In them, Charles wasn't formal or restrained. He was emotional, vulnerable, even playful. These tapes made it clear: Camilla was never just a friend. Diana's fears weren't paranoia. They were reality. Public support shifted even more toward Diana, and pressure mounted on the monarchy to respond. What was once a private struggle had become a public reckoning. Eventually, Charles sat down for a TV interview. Calmly, almost clinically, he admitted it. Yes, he had been unfaithful. Yes, Camilla was still in his life. He said he had tried to be faithful until the marriage had irretrievably broken down. But there was no apology, no remorse, no mention of the toll it took on Diana. To many watching, his words felt like justification, not confession. Not long after, Diana broke her silence in an interview that would become iconic. "There were 3 of us in this marriage," she said. "So it was a bit crowded." In that moment, she wasn't just a princess. She was a woman reclaiming her voice. She opened up about her struggles, her loneliness, and the emotional walls she faced. And in doing so, she became more than royal. She became real. After their separation was announced, the two continued public duties, but behind the scenes, the damage was done. Diana continued to grow in influence, using her platform for causes and compassion. Charles, meanwhile, tried to repair his image, but the narrative had already shifted. The world had picked its favorite, and it wasn't the heir to the throne. Now, seated on the throne, he waited a lifetime to occupy. King Charles III wears more than a crown. He wears the weight of every choice he's ever made. And according to those closest to him, that burden is heavier than it looks. In recent years, quiet murmurs from royal insiders have revealed a man who often reflects on the past with more sorrow than satisfaction. These aren't just the expected royal regrets about protocol or policy. They are deeply personal, painful, and lasting. Those within his inner circle say Charles carries a deep sense of remorse over how things unfolded with Diana. He reportedly shared that he feels responsible for the heartbreak she endured, not just because of his actions, but because of his silence, his emotional distance, and the palace's inability to truly protect her. One longtime confidant revealed, "He knows he could have been kinder, he knows he could have been clearer, he knows he should have handled it differently." It's not just regret over the scandal or the public backlash, it's regret over how he made someone feel, over how he didn't rise above royal expectations when someone needed him to be human, not just a prince. He's also reportedly spoken about how he underestimated Diana's emotional depth, her impact on the world, and how her authenticity made people feel seen. He's confessed in private moments that he sometimes wonders whether he ever deserved the loyalty and love she gave him. The most surprising detail, sources close to the king say he's expressed admiration for Diana's legacy, how she reshaped the role of royalty through compassion, not just duty. It's a bittersweet truth. The woman he once failed now serves as a quiet standard he strives to live up to as king. But that emotional reckoning has come at a steep price, because the one person he might have wanted to say all this to is no longer there to hear it. What if Charles had chosen Camilla from the beginning? Would Diana have found happiness elsewhere? Would lives have turned out gentler? Some say Diana was a casualty of royal tradition. Others believe Charles made his choices fully aware of the cost. Maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. But one thing is certain, everyone in this story paid a price for duty, expectations, and withheld truth. The tale of Charles and Diana wasn't just a love story gone wrong. It was a lesson about honesty, timing, and what happens when personal happiness is sacrificed for public image. Was Charles a man trapped by tradition, or was he the architect of his own heartbreak? And hers? Let us know in the comments what you think. Who is truly at fault? And what does this mean for the future of the monarchy? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more untold stories inside the palace, because what's coming next will surprise you even more.